What's good, everybody? This your man's DB the producer, back at you with another machine tutorial. I'm so glad to be back because today I'm about to talk about a great topic. We about to talk about sampling. Let's get to it. What's good, y'all, man? Today is going to be a 3-part series on the subject of sampling in Maschine. There has been a lot of comments, man, on these groups and feeds and stuff. Sampling is a sport. It's a sport. Either you're good at it or you're not. But you can find ways to where you can be creative in sampling in your own genre, you know, however you want to do it. I'm just going to show you my way, and my way, hopefully I can help you come up with some creative ways for you to chop your samples. We talk about chops like Kanye, like JDilla, you know, people like that, like how they chop their samples. So first and foremost, first part of the series, we're going to talk about how to actively listen to the sample that you want to chop in order to get the correct chops that you want to create. So what I do first, I go ahead and download my sample. Here's my sample. I went with Debbie Taylor. I had 3, but it came down to this one, Debbie Taylor. I don't want to leave you. So we're going to take a listen to it real quick. All right, here go the part that I'm going to sample. That right there is going to be my song. That's going to be my song. But I'll show you how I get to chopping it and how I get to my ideas. But this is where it comes down to active listening. But the first thing I want to do is show you guys how to put your samples into Maschine. Because you know it has to be wave. It has to be a wave file. So what I do is I download it and I double click from my downloads. Double click, boom, boom. Once I double click, it opens up in iTunes. Once it opens up in iTunes, I click on it and I'll show you guys this first. In preferences, if you go to files and you go to import settings, your import settings should be wave encoder. 9 times out of 10 it's going to be on MP3. Just make sure you click on import using and use wave encoder and click OK. And you should be good from there. So what you do, you highlight the song, you go to file, then you go to convert, create wave version. Converting, as you see, now it's done and it's playing. So it won't pull up where it's at, but what you do is, as it's playing at the top, just right click, show album in library. Boom, this is it right here. As you can see, the play button. All right, so what I'll do is I'll drag it over to Maschine and boom, got it in Maschine. All right. So starting off, I'm going to get out of iTunes. Starting off, what I like to do, as you probably just seen me do, I changed my polyphony settings from 8 to 1. What that does is if it's on 8, if it's on anything more than 1, if I do this, you hear it looping into itself. I don't want that. So what I do is I put on polyphony 1. So anytime I hit the pad, it'll automatically just start whenever I hit it. See, it doesn't go into itself. But we're going to actively listen. Now, I already listened, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to let it play on out. No, I'm not going to let it play out. I'm going to go to the sections that I'm going to chop.
But you leave
So it stops right there. And I'm going to go to the 0 cursor marker, I think it's called, or the 0 crossing point, something like that. And the 0 crossing point is right there where it's at the line. So as you see, my ending point stops right there at that line. That way I won't get any pops or clicks. That's what that's for. There we go. That's the part I want to sample. So what I'll do is while I'm in sampling, I didn't even tell y'all that, I'm sorry. I go to sampling and I'm in the edit mode. And you can edit your sample however you want. You don't have to touch none of this. After you have your start and end points, then from there, I'm going to truncate it. And what truncate means is I'm going to cut out everything that's on the left side of my selection and the right side of my selection. I just want to focus on my selection. So I'll click apply. All right, so there's a couple of things that I want to do before I do this sample. First, I've already thought out of a genre that I kind of want this to fall in, this sample to fall in. And it's going to be like a hip hop, Ace Hood type of Jay-Z-ish, dark Rick Rossy type sample. They like soul. I love soul as well. So I pick samples that has a lot of orchestra, a lot of horns, a lot of big bands and stuff like that, because it gives soul to the record. Then once you pick your soulful part, then you can determine what you want it to be: R&B, hip hop, I don't know any other, trap soul, whatever. But for this, it's going to be pretty much hip hop. So what I like to do is, now that I got my big chopper where I want, I'm going to get out a sample. I'm going to go over and I'm going to tune. And what this does is, as I press my pad, I look to and hear where I want my sample to be at. So you'll see, watch. All right, so what I was doing right there, I kind of mumble and give a little gibberish of a delivery that I can hear over that sample at the key that it's in. I don't know the exact key right now, but the sound that I have, instead of the original, that's the original. Instead of the original, that's where I'm hearing it at. So, and I kind of like that speed too. So now I figure out the tempo that I want my sample that I'm going to create my chops to be at. Let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, and I'm gonna do it double time. So it's at 162.56. I don't like the 0.56, so I'm gonna take that out and just make it 162. All right. All right, that's where. Now I'm gonna go ahead and chop it. Now the way I like to chop it, here is that I like to chop it. And with this way, I like to auto chop it, auto slice it. And what I mean by that is I'll press a pad and the sound will continue to play. And as I press the pads, as the song is going, I'm telling Maschine, these are my chops. Every time I press it, are my chops. And that's what I'm going to do. So, well, before I chop it, let's go back to edit and let's go to stretch and let's stretch it. No, I don't want to stretch it. So I'm gonna go alpha instead of beat mode. I'm gonna go to free, because what that does is once I tune my sample, it does not change the speed. So I'm gonna go ahead and tune it. So it changed the speed, but it did not change. It changed the tune, but it did not change the speed. So here I go with my auto slice. Oh, I tripped. So there we go. So now that I have all 8 of my chops, Now from there, what I'll do is I want to clean up my samples. All right, so I do like the chops. Now what I'm gonna do is, before I do my final chops, I am gonna speed it up just a little bit. I think I'm gonna go to 120. Let's see what they do. So I'm gonna undo that and I'm gonna go down to 110. All right, that's cool. That'll work. Now let me go back to assembling. Let me go back to slicing. Oh, it took away my slices. It's okay. There we go. So now I'm hearing, I'm sorry, I went on a little tangent, I'm sorry. So now I'm hearing different ways that I can use this sample. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go back here and I gotta apply my sample so I won't lose them again. So what I do is I hit apply, and what Maschine is saying is, while this pad is blinking, I want all of my chops to go to this pad and only this pad. And what it'll do is it'll chop up the pad on keys, on the, that sound dope too, I'm sorry. But it'll chop it up on the keys and it'll be like on octave C -2. I don't want that. I want them directly on all 8 of my pads. So what I do is I hit group A, and what that's telling Maschine is I want all my chops to be chopped up in group A from 1 to 8. That's what I want to do. So I click OK, and here go all my chops. I want to make sure they're all on polyphony 1. They all still run into each other. So what I have to do from there is go to pad mode. I'm going to put all these on choke group 1. Put all of them on choke group 1. So I'll hit it, choke group. So what it did was it took all of them, put them on Tro Group 1. Now they're killing each other like it do on FL, kill self or cut. All right, so now another thing that I like to do is take all of my samples, right? Take all of my samples and change the mode. So if I hold group and I change this, these are different engines that was in the 4 different MPC drum pads, right? You got the MPC 60, you got the SP 1200, the SPL, SPLM, SP 1200 HM, SP 1200H. Now I don't know what these letters stand for, but I know they all give it a different sound. If you listen, you hear that crackle in the back? I think this is low, mid, high. So yeah, I'm gonna put them all on SP 1200H. So now it gives them, it sound old already now because of me changing this engine. That's another thing that I like to do when I'm sampling. Now let's go ahead and figure out our chops. Or as a matter of fact, I'm gonna pull in a bass. Oh, so sorry y'all, I gotta tell y'all. One of the key features of sampling is sound selection. Sound selection. When you create a sample, at least 7 times out of 10, you want to go with like a live bass type sound. You can do synth basses on certain parts, but the live bass just gives it some, I don't know. It just gives it that that it needs. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna pull in the bass. I got the Scarby Rickenbacker bass. It's a real deep, rich sounding bass. All right, and then I'm gonna pull in some keys, and I like to pull in, I know we got like Alicia's keys or something like that, but I don't think I have that one downloaded. It take up too much space, so I'm gonna pick the grandeur, I guess, yeah. Cool. And from there, I should be good, and I'll make some for the drums. So, drums. What? Close it. Piano. Oh. Bass. As you know, I like to label everything, and I'm called it samples. All right, so I'm gonna listen with the metronome and see how I want my chops to be. All right, I think I got it. One thing I forgot to do, let's clear that, is make my pattern 4 bars and not 2. I forgot. Another reason why my sample sounds the way that it does, if you go to group and all your samples should be on a filter. And what you do is put on a low pass, no, not low pass, put on a high pass filter and take out some of that low stuff. Yeah, if I'm my bass. Messed up my camera. All right, so cool. Now I got that. So for live stuff, right, my go-to drum kit is always Cardiac or Illmind or what's his name? Ahab Music. Because those kits sound like live kits. So I like sound selection. I like for my sounds to sound like it's coming from an actual drum kit, because the loops, the samples that I cut, they already sound soulful. So I don't want to take it away from her putting like some urban drums on them, make them sound bigger with live drums. You'll see. Loop real quick. Okay, let's go ahead and stick it. Yeah, one bar. Let's undo that. Let's make it 2 bars. All right, now let's cut it. Let's cut it. Now, the reason that I cut it, that's cool. I'm gonna apply it and I'm gonna put it on that pad. And the reason I put it on that pad is because if I get out of pad mode, right, it's only here. You only hear the 1. But if I go into hit shift, go to keyboard mode, that brings me into all my chops, which, like I say, goes to C-2. So let's hear something. It made chops for me, which again, I don't want because I like to make my own. There we go. So I know I went to producer mode on that, man. I just was hearing a whole bunch of stuff, and it sounded like a story need to be told on it. Like, I don't know. I like story type of rappers, you know what I'm saying, who tell story. Nipsey Hussle, Dave East, Jay-Z. Like, I like stories about Tory Lanez. Like, I don't know, man. It's just something about samples and stuff like that that just makes you listen to the record intently. You know what I mean? So that's how I like to sample, man. That's part one. That is one way that I like to sample. Part two, I'll probably do an R&B one. And then, yeah, man, like, I mean, I just got a bunch in store, man, for the samples, man. So thank y'all for tuning in, man. If you like the video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. You know what I'm saying? If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe. And, man, if you haven't, hit that notification bell right down there. So then that way, man, you know when I'll be shooting my next video. I appreciate y'all for listening, man, and checking me out. Until then, I'm out.